And joining me now to discuss this is the Executive Director, Lead Network. He joins us via Zoom, and Chukwuma Okenwa. Good to have you join us, Chukwuma Okenwa.
Yeah, good to be here. Thank you so much.
So we have now seen some sort of, they have now revised the inflation figures to about 17.92 thereabout. But the situation of things have not changed. Nigerians are still buying things in the market for much more. According to the World Bank, 7 million Nigerians have now been added to the poverty line, but the federal government, the president, said he has taken about 10.5 million people out of poverty. So help us marry these figures we're seeing and the reality on ground.
Yeah, let me restate at this particular point that anytime we talk about economics, we should be able to match records with realities on the ground. What that means is, if you look at the misery index in the land, considering the high rate of unemployment, just oppose that with the fact that the inflation rate is ever skyrocketing. Just within about 6 to 7 months, we are talking about moving from 11.89% to over 17%. And I mean, it is biting hard on Nigerians, not just the average Nigerian, but every Nigerian can attest to it, that things are really very harsh. So talking about the president's claim of lifting out people out of poverty, over 10 million people, one would wonder, how did Mr. President arrive at that figure? But of course, he did well to reference the likes of farmers, artisans, market women, and then critically looking at the presidential interventions, like for some of those persons, the market women, the Anchor Borrowers program for farmers, one would wonder if that actually translates to lifting people out of poverty, you know, on a sustainable basis, like in the interventions for the market money, the trader money, and all the rest of it. How sustainable were some of those schemes? And it is also a record that some of those farmers.
I like that you keep mentioning the farmers, and I really want to stay there because we're seeing the level of insecurity in the north, and we're largely dependent on the north for food production. We have not been able to create regional hubs for food production. With the insecurity in that region and with the level of food inflation we're also seeing, what can we do to continue to produce in this security crisis, especially now that we're in the planting season for some crops?
Yeah, that's a very interesting one to note, that an administration that claims to, you know, pioneer agrarian revolution also accommodates insecurity that has been a great threat to the farmers. And I'm talking about the Fulani incidents of Fulani herdsmen. I wouldn't want to call that a farmer herders clash, because you talk about a clash between someone that have an AK-47 and someone that is with bare arms, trying to come up with things, food for the nation. So I see that as counterproductive, that the president has not been able to look at the issue of the insecurity, especially as it has to do with oppression of farmers. And interestingly, this is not just happening in the Northeast now, but even more in the southern part of the country, where farmers are scared of going into the farms. So, and that's, we all can attest to the result, because if you used to buy the tomato, like maybe of 1,000 naira, and that can be enough for the family. Now you may have to spend up to 2,500. So the evidence is there, the reality is there. So I advise the presidency to match the records and the realities. And I think this also confirms that the president somehow seems to have lost touch with the reality and the reality that is on ground. You know, if World Bank now comes up with a figure that Nigerians can relate, saying yes, this one is inflation driven. If you look at the fact that the cost of food, basically, everyone have to eat on daily basis, keeps skyrocketing. And then you look at the fact that the level of inflation and misery it has brought to the land, you can't explain or disconnect the fact that that can make more persons to go below the poverty line. And it's really quite
so let's begin to look at look at solutions, because the World Bank also stated that Nigeria will the GDP for Nigeria, there's a forecast of about 1.9%, for our GDP growth in 2021, and just slightly higher in 2022. But let's focus on this year, because we're still in that security crisis in all parts of the country. Beyond the optimism of, we're going to experience a level of growth, what should we be doing now to ensure that at least we have a level of growth, not just growth that in terms of figures, but growth that actually puts food on people's table?
Yes, I think any government anywhere that is serious to grow must, of necessity, focus on three major things. First, you tackle insecurity. Insecurity drives away investors. It discourages even people, citizens that are committed to contributing their own to the growth of the economy. They are scared. They can't deliver. They can't give in all of their best. And of course, you talk about the infrastructure. And I would say that, to a very great extent, the administration also has demonstrated some great deal of commitment in terms of infrastructure. But then there is one area we've not really done much, and I've not seen any past administration that have focused much on human capital development. Humans are the ones that drive the economy. And when the difference between an industrial economy and, of course, a high-paying economy is the quality of investment that is made into, converting human beings into human capitals. And I think it's high time, as a nation that is highly populated, we begin to think out of the box on how do we translate all of these human beings into human capital. And with that, high population will not be seen as a disadvantage.
Thank you so much for talking to us, Executive Director, Lead Network, Chukwuma Okenwa.
Thank you.